Yeah, hello people, this is Calvin again. Listen, I wanted to make a video because I kind of got inspired to do that when I saw somebody made a video recently about an experience that came back to them. They called it gender policing, and I could totally relate to this kind of self-consciousness they were talking about. And that happens. First of all, I feel like saying, I turned 50 and I've been wanting to make a video for a while. It's the gender odyssey, and having done it for 50 years, one thing I can honestly say is that without working towards resolution, none of this goes away, and it doesn't get better, and it doesn't go away by itself. And I've really come to the point where I'm thinking 50 years is freaking enough. Like, I paid my dues and stuff, but that it's time to be me. So that's what I'm going to try to do. But it's really that kind of baggage, that's held me back for so long, and I've managed to survive in the world and make my way, in the kind of limbo. I view it as limbo, gender limbo. It's kind of hard to move into a new uncomfortability zone, right when you're starting to worry about being set up so you don't have to suffer so much in old age. And I'm going to throw new things into the mix. It's a feeling all its own, trust me. But the kind of experiences I'm talking about that came up for me when I heard that, were, they stem so far back. I mean, I remember being like, I guess they call it tween today, but like, 12, 13, 14. The city that I grew up in, was kind of the deal where a lot of people would sit out on their porches in the evening and stare at people that went by. And it started with running around playing football with the boys and stuff, but then it started, with the walking down the street and hearing people behind me going, the whispers and the protracted looks, was that a girl or a boy? Was that a girl or a guy? In place, or more blatantly, and I'll never forget one morning I was on my way to the bus stop to go to college, and oh my God, that was like how many years ago? Over 30 years ago. And this is still with me, and I'm crossing the street, and this car pulls up and stops at a red light, and it's like a whole bunch of guys in there, evidently still out party cruising from the night before or something, and they're looking over at me, and they're yelling slurs out of this car. They're calling me faggot and this, that, and the other thing, and I'm thinking, keep walking, head right to the convenience store and go in there. And it was escalating, and I'm thinking, God, now I'm going to get my ass kicked for something I can't even be, like a total mistake in. And if they would have kicked my ass and found out, I probably would have got my ass kicked double for, being me. And just a whole series of things like that, parental shit, oh, definitely, years and years of, not being able to apply for certain kinds of jobs, or not getting jobs because you realize that there's some kind of unspoken gender bias or social bias, that's in play, that no one will talk about. Maybe these days, but it hasn't been my experience. And the loneliness, and then the experiences that never end, like, constantly called out. I mean, well, the other experiences were like I was at a club once too, and I had on a leather jacket with no shirt on underneath, and I went to the bathroom, and everybody went running out of the bathroom and was telling the management there's a guy in the bathroom. So I get like dragged out of the bathroom and kicked out of this place, and it's like, whoa, and that's just the one bathroom story. I work with people, and I took people to a 12-step meeting with coworkers and patients, and I knew a lot of people at this meeting. And in fact, I knew the person who was yelling at me, and I was in the bathroom, and this person came in, and they started flipping out on me, like really loud. This is the ladies' room, and blah, 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 at the top of their lungs, and people are out there in a meeting, and it's all quiet, and I know where in relationship to where the bathroom was, I know everybody heard it. And then I had to go bolting out of that bathroom and come back out into that context, and no one ever said anything to me, but the feelings that I had, that everybody knew, you know, that you're like out, that you're raw, that you're exposed, that there's no peaceful anonymity for you. You know, some people experience, you know, anonymity in crowds. It's the beauty of it sometimes, you know, but there are experiences that I'm robbed of, you know, being trans the way I am. and it's embarrassing, man, and lots of little things that I could sit here and talk about forever. They'd all start coming back to me, but man, I'm telling you, they add up, you know. And that's PTSD for sure. And it doesn't have to be something major either. It can be a lot of little cumulative things. And I think that's one of the things that's kept me in hiding from myself for so long, because when you're you know, outed like that, or policed or whatever, you know, you're called in to direct you. You're observing yourself, you know, and it's uncomfortable, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's it's just really hard. And if you're watching this, you probably know that. You know, the other thing I observed too is not only gender policing, but just how early we start to genderize children, because I was sitting in my car one time. I had just pulled into a parking space when I lived in town yet. And this little boy came up to my car, and he must have been 6, 7, and he comes up to my car window, leans in all nonchalantly like he's the king of the neighborhood and shit, and starts quizzing me, interrogating me, more or less. And I suddenly became totally aware of how this little boy, this little kid, had this complete sense of male privilege, like already, and because that he could just come up and start asking me all these personal questions, and of course the questions were whether I was a boy or a girl, and why did I dress like that, and who am I, and what do I think, and I'm like, dude, go away, you're bothering me, kid, you know, and and that's been going on, you know, and that will continue to go on even if I transition all the way, because sooner or later you're going to be revealed if you want to have any kind of relationships with people at all, and that every time that happens for me is going to stoke up those feelings, and it's just like, I don't know, it's shame, you know, it's the feeling ashamed for being who you are, you know, and not being able to find your tribe, which is the whole point of YouTube, I think. So, yeah, that was my story, you know, and it's dangerous, you know. I've been threatened with physical violence. It wasn't that long ago I went to an event where that was a recovery event where everyone knew me, and just about, and still on the way to the bathroom, it was a situation where at one point the bathrooms were reversed. For some reason, the guys used to be on one side and the women on the other, and then they changed them at some point in time at this venue that they were having the event at. So there must have been mix-ups on occasion, people heading the wrong direction, and the person might have thought they were doing me a favor, but they were behind me and they're yelling, "That's the ladies' room, dude," or whatever, you know. And I'm thinking, like, I know you're not talking to me, right? I ain't hearing that. Fuck you, you're confused, because I don't want to confront, you know, and I don't want to turn around and be exposed, and then like as I kept walking, right, it kept escalating, and the urgency in this person's voice